If you are a competitor or you're thinking about competing in fight sports, this episode is perfect for you because we're going to focus on things, silly mistakes that people make that lead them to losing fights. Strike Ready Movement, where we focus on balance, footwork, and range training is now available for you. There's a link down below where you can pick up this fantastic course for just $99. And bear in mind that balance, footwork, and range are the fundamentals that make your offense and your defense really work. So if you feel like something's missing from your striking, it's probably that, and you're gonna learn so much with all the videos I put together for you. Now, we're talking about how many people lose fights in the silliest ways. And yes, I have done a couple of these before, but once you hear them, hopefully when you're in your next fight camp, whether it's your first fight or your 10th, you're gonna go, yes, I'm not gonna make those mistakes because they can and very possibly will lead to me losing. Now, number one, I've done this before and I'm so embarrassed that I did it. It's not giving your opponent the proper respect. Because when you don't give them the respect, you think, oh, I can't lose. Like, I'm gonna win this fight. And it's very easy for me to look at somebody on pads, to look at somebody in previous fights and go, they can't beat me. No, it's not gonna happen. And I still always go in and I put my hard training in. I don't cut corners in that area, but stepping into a fight where you don't have the same fear, that same understanding that this could be a fight that you can lose if you don't give it 100% or if you're not completely on point, there's something about this that can cause you to step in there and all of a sudden realize mid-fight that this is harder than I thought. And all of a sudden, it's hard to flip that switch and take control. So always give your opponent massive respect. It leads you, yes, to being a little bit more scared during fight camp. Of course, it's awesome to walk around and be like, yeah, I don't have to be scared this guy can't beat me. It's a great feeling, but I'd rather be scared during fight camp and win than not be scared during fight camp and lose. Moving on from there, something that I've seen many people do is the wrong type of cardio. Of course, we hear all the time, cross training, road work, do it. And people will go out and they tell me, yeah, I ran 10K 3 times per week leading up to the fight. And I was like, so what else did you do? They're like, yeah, I did my bag work and my pad work. I'm like, no. What other road work did you do? They're like, no, I did 10K. I'm like, well, what about your sprints? So think about a fight. A fight is not this consistent, non-stop pace. It's we go and then we get a little break and then we get smothered and we come back and it's just up, down, up, down. So you want to be sprinting and then jogging and then sprinting and jogging, or even taking pauses where you stop, you recover, then you run 200 meters. You stop and you recover, and you run 400 meters, or whatever distance you're doing. But don't let yourself lose when you did the road work, but it wasn't the right type of road work. Many people will argue with me on this. They'll say, no, Gabriel, you should be running 10Ks. But I think it's far more important to be running shorter distance sprints, especially for people out there who are amateurs and you don't have as much time as a professional fighter. Now, let's talk right before the fight. Like you're about to head out and you're doing your warm-up. I've seen so many people perform poorly in the ring because they said, oh, I didn't really feel like I was able to open up my lungs until midway through the second round. Because their warm-up backstage was just kind of, and then they head out and they haven't opened their lungs up. They haven't got that heart pumping. They haven't broken a full sweat. And then they do that in round number 1 because they haven't done it yet and they lose that round. And then you have to win the next 2 rounds. Sometimes you can't. Sometimes the guy who comes out across from you is really coming to get you in the first and second, and then the 3rd round they start to take over. But backstage, that's where you get that massive sweat happening, where you finish and you're like, okay. And then once you cool down, you wrap up in a towel, then you head out and you're ready to go. Take full advantage of your warm-ups. They should be at least a half hour between the stretching and the slow warm-up and going through the techniques, the things that you've been working, like he has a good left hook, so we're blocking and countering, blocking and countering. Then you do your hard pads. Then after a half hour or 40 minutes, you can head out and do the actual fight. Now, once you're actually in the fight, it's fight time. You're going. So many people that I've talked to as well have lost because they did not realize in their first fight or their second fight that the guy across from you is really coming to hurt you. He wants to knock you out, and they don't seem to realize that beforehand. So they're sparring, their pad work, it's all very like, you know, imagine Sanchai. He's playing around, and they do all their sparring like that, and then all of a sudden you have a killer across from you who's just like, ah, and you're trying to do that, but they're just not letting you. Guess what? You have to do hard sparring rounds. You have to do rounds on the pads where you just boom, boom, and you're just crushing them as hard as you can, because not everybody is Sanchai. Not everybody can keep this nice, chill pace, and maybe that comes with time and experience. You know, 10, 15 fights in, you can start doing that, but when you're early on, you need to recognize that the person across from you is going to be trying to take your head off, and sometimes the only way to stop them from doing that is to crack them once or twice and make them scared. Not just play this technical game with them. So being ready for somebody to come and try and annihilate you, just having that mindset is so important and can save you from being shocked and having a loss because you just were not expecting that type of fight. The last silly thing that I want to talk about, I've never done this. Never, ever, ever. I treat fight camp like it's a religion, and I am on point with my diet. And I've never had alcohol anyway, so I'm not doing that during fight camp. But people who are like, oh yeah, I'm fighting in 5 weeks, and they're going out on weekends, still drinking, still getting drunk, eating mediocre food, not doing what is going to make them the absolute best, this can lead to a loss. Yes, we do see some people in the world who still smoke, who still drink, go in and compete in the UFC and do very well. Good for them. But I can guarantee you they would be doing better overall if they didn't do those things. They have a high skill level. Not everybody has a skill level that's way up here. A lot of us are down here, and we have to do everything we can to get better and better and better. And doing silly things like, oh yeah, it's a weekend, and you know, I just want to relax a little bit and let loose, and oh man, do that when the fight's done if you have to, but not leading up to the camp. Not leading up to the fight, where you have anything less than 2 months left. Dial in, be like a monk, eat the proper food, don't put anything bad in your body, and is that wasted time? Are you gonna look back and go, oh, I wasted that 2 months of my life not having fun because I was training for a fight? Well, if it's that important to you, guess what? You probably shouldn't be fighting. Because if the person across from you is an equal skill level and they're not drinking and they're that much better and they can clip you and knock you out, I don't think it's worth having a little alcohol or some bad food just to enjoy it and then get knocked out. Doesn't seem like it's balanced to me, at least. Anyway, anybody who's thinking of competing, who's already competing and wanting to up their skill set, try to implement everything I mentioned today. Again, these should be common things you already know. But if you haven't implemented them, now is the time. That's it, everybody. I'll see you back here soon.